This is a great day for the state of Maryland. And first, I say it's a great day for the state of Maryland because it is officially Bring Your Child to Work Day here in the state of Maryland. So this is a really, really beautiful day. And speaking of day, I'm looking down and seeing Secretary Day. It is a great day. It is a great day, and a couple additional days here as well. So good to have you guys here. And I do want to first start just by not just acknowledging that, but also to all the parents in the room and to all the kids in the room. If we can just give you all a round of applause. For watching democracy happen and to see a really, really important and a long overdue day in the state of Maryland take place. I remember actually for my wife and when our kids are first born, we have a rule inside of State House that for our kids, they're invited to everything, they're required to do nothing. And so they pick and choose which meetings they attend. I think the last meeting they attended was when Ed Reed from the Ravens was here. My son was not gonna miss that at all. But to all the kids here, I just want to say that you all make this room complete. That this room would be incomplete if you weren't here. That every place that you are in, every space that you are in, just remember, you are not there because of kindness. You are not there because of social experiments. You're not there because it's fun to do. You are in that room because that room would be incomplete if you weren't there. And every room that you are in, from now and always, is because that room was waiting for you to walk in. And we're grateful to have you here. And I can tell you that, that having you all here on a day like today really matters too. Because every single one of the bills that we are going to sign today, it was you who we were thinking about. It was your future. It was your promise. Because I can tell you the amount of work that took place to make today happen, it was remarkable. And from everybody who you see here, from the lawmakers and the activists and the advocates, everybody who took the time to make this work happen. And we're all asking the same questions repeatedly over and over. Is this the right thing? Is this something that's going to make our communities better? What would it look like if we chose to be bold? If we chose to be ambitious? What would it look like when the time came to serve if we took that moment seriously? And I'm really glad to say that for each and every person in here, and for each of these bills, the question of would Maryland be bold has been answered. Because the answer is yes. The answer is we're Maryland and we win. That's what we do. And we choose. We made the choice to be aggressive. And so I want to thank everybody who put in the work to make this such a successful session. As ever and as always, I am so grateful to stand here with my partners in the work, President Ferguson and Speaker Jones, who have been remarkable partners. And it's an honor to work with you all every day. I'm thankful to have so many members of our team and our administration and our cabinet here as well. Once again, today would not happen if it were not for you. I'm thankful that you all continue to raise your hands to serve, and it is an honor to serve with you in the Moore-Miller administration. She's not here, but I hope we can give her a round of applause, that we can hear it all the way down at the conference that she's leading and representing us on, because I'm grateful to have a partner in this work like Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller. And also here with partners from all the different aspects of government, to include our fantastic Attorney General, Anthony Brown, who I'm not sure where the AG is. He's here somewhere. But I want to thank him because he and his team have just worked with our team every single step of the way. And also importantly, I do want to thank all the folks who were the advocates, the people who went and testified, the people who went and shared information, the people who came and shared your stories, the people who made sure that when we were getting these bills done, that we were getting the bills done right, and that they were fundamentally making each and every one of our lives better. And there's a special group of advocates who I want to give a shout out to, and that's our unions. You know, today we're joined by the International Association of Machinists. We're joined by Maryland AFT. We're joined by AFSCME Maryland. We're joined by SEIU Local 500 and many more. And because of them, and because of their work, and because of their impatience, which I love impatience, I'm excited that we are going to sign legislation to support collective bargaining here in the state of Maryland. In this moment, we are going to be Maryland strong because we are going to be union strong. Now, at the start of session, we laid out that we had 4 priorities and 4 lanes on things we needed to get done. We were going to make Maryland safer. We were going to make Maryland more affordable. We were going to make Maryland more competitive. And we were going to continue to make Maryland the state that serves. And today, I'll sign legislation that's making our state more affordable. All of the housing agenda that we have today is at the center of these bills. Because this was a year that we made the choice to put housing front and center because we knew this was an issue that could not wait. Building a stronger housing market cannot wait. Addressing the fact that right now in Maryland we have a minimum of 96,000 unit shortage in our state. That cannot wait. Addressing the reality, and it's a stat that still literally keeps me up at night, that 30% of younger Marylanders are considering leaving our state simply because of housing costs. That can't wait. And there's consequences to waiting on that. And so we refuse to turn away from housing. Because you cannot have a growing and a thriving state if people cannot afford to live here. Now, under the leadership of our absolutely spectacular Secretary of Housing and Community Development, Secretary Jake Day, we introduced the most comprehensive housing package of any administration in recent history, and we were completely unapologetic about it. Because this was a time when this issue could not wait. We introduced the Housing Expansion and Affordability Act, and that's going to help us to tackle the housing shortage by investing in responsible development. We introduced the Housing and Community Development Financing Act. It's going to help us marshal the resources that we need to tear down vacant properties and to build new units. We are going to protect the places where we shouldn't build. But the places that we should build, we need to. We've got to create a greater level of inventory. Because with inventory comes opportunity. And we introduced the Renters' Rights and Stabilization Act. This is going to help us protect our renters from eviction. Because it should not be lost on anybody in our state that the #1 driver of poverty in the state of Maryland is housing insecurity. If you're going to be serious about addressing the issue of poverty, you must be serious about addressing the issue of housing. Now, all 3 of these bills, with votes from both Democrats and Republicans, Democrats and Republicans, yeah, we can applaud that because I tell you, it's also a consistent theme that we're seeing here in the state of Maryland, where Maryland's just choosing to move differently. And we are sincerely proud of the fact that with this administration, that for the second year in a row, every single bill that we've introduced was passed with both Democratic and Republican support. And that trend continues with these bills. So it's not lost on me that when we first entered this session, I remember having a conversation with Secretary Day and saying, like, a lot of folks are telling us, don't touch housing. Housing's complicated. It's challenging. There's a lot of landmines in housing. And we understood that because they were like, the negotiations are going to get partisan very quickly. They said that the legislating this process is going to be too complex. Having the state play a role in this is always very complicated because so much of this stuff is local. We heard it all. But here's what we did here in Maryland. In Maryland, we don't run away from the hard things. In Maryland, we embrace them. In Maryland, we build coalitions. In Maryland, we work together. And in Maryland, we get big things done. And so we moved in partnership. And by doing that, we did not just enact the most aggressive housing package in recent Maryland history, we changed the way housing legislation gets done in the first place. And we built a table that was big enough for everybody, for Democrats, for Republicans, for the private sector, for the public sector, for our advocacy organizations, for our local elected leaders, for our state leaders, la-di-da-di, everybody. You got a chair at this table. And we've been able to build a strong coalition because people understand who this legislation is going to benefit. This legislation is going to benefit the teacher in Rockville who can't afford to buy a home in the same neighborhood where they teach. This legislation is also going to benefit the police officer in Baltimore City with 3 kids who can't make the family budget work this month because of housing. It's going to benefit the senior in Cheverly who struggles to keep pace with rising prices. It will benefit the children in this room, the people who we do the work for, who just simply, we want to provide you all an opportunity to grow up and save for a down payment so you can become Maryland homeowners and taxpayers and build and grow and stay here. And it's going to benefit people like Baltimore City Sheriff Sam Cogan. One of the communities that we kept hearing from when we said that we were going to invest in housing this year was our men and women in uniform. And I can tell you your testimony was a game changer. Because what they heard was that our officers are seeing both sides of the housing crisis. They're often the ones who seek more affordable places to live because they're choosing to raise their hands to serve and are just simply hoping to have a housing inventory that can meet being a public servant. And also, they're the ones who are forced to make evictions when people can't make rent. Sam's been working in the sheriff's office for over 25 years, and many of his colleagues over the years have struggled with housing. And Sam has also spent more and more of his time serving evictions for tenants. And do you know what we heard during his testimony? That he hates it. Because that should not be the lion's share of his job. So he decided to make a change. He came to Annapolis. He testified. He worked on behalf of the affordable housing package. He worked and rolled his sleeves up and working on the language of the bill. And we would not be here if it were not for Sheriff Sam Cogan. Sheriff, I want to thank you because hopefully because of your hard work, from today on forward, all the time that you were spending focusing on evictions, let's get that off your plate. And now let you go back to the work. And so, on behalf of everybody in this state who's also going to benefit from this, I'd like to ask you to come up because I would like to present you with the first official pen for your work. And now I'm thrilled to step to the side and turn the microphone over to my friend and partner in the work, Senate President Bill Ferguson.
Mr. Governor, you did forget to mention that Sheriff Kogan also has the brilliance of deciding to live in the 46th Legislative District. So we appreciate him enormously. And in all seriousness, I do have one small request for the governor, as well as for anybody else in this room that may run into the Ferguson children. I didn't know today was Take Your Kids to Work Day. And so let's just hope they don't find out because they are sitting in school and I'll be in the worst type of trouble, the dad trouble, you know. But thank you. No, in all seriousness, it is such a pleasure to be here with you all, especially the young folks who are getting to see this incredible process. This is truly, truly a unique experience, and it's a blessing to have you here and see this democracy and government in action. We are all here as part of government to build a better society, and so having you here to see it matters for you and for all of your friends who you get to tell the story to about what you were able to do today. So please, please, please enjoy yourself. I am so thrilled to be amongst such great partners in the work. Speaker Jones and Governor Moore have been just incredible friends, allies. We've been able to work together throughout this legislative session with a historic number of bills that were passed. And I think the governor did an excellent job outlining some of the big issue items around home ownership and housing affordability, which we were able to make some really remarkable strides upon. I see our chair and vice chair of our Judicial Proceedings Committee, who had a number of the renter protection components, have been working on housing issues for years and years and years. Our vice chair of our Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, who had a lion's share of work this year on housing affordability. It has just been a very, very heavy lift, and a number of our local partners, from our county executive in Frederick, who's just been doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for your incredible work. We really were able to put together a great package. I do want to highlight, because we had such a record number of bills this year, some of the ones that maybe don't get the front headlines, but really, really matter, that we'll be signing into law today. I want to thank Senator Antonio Hayes, who has been for years fighting around home ownership, and we will continue this effort around West North Avenue and trying to make sure that every single neighborhood, especially those who have had the impacts of redlining in Baltimore and other parts of the state, have the appropriate investment moving forward. We had another bill, Senate Bill 35, which was sponsored by Senator McCray and Delegate Shetty, that expands SNAP benefits to some of our most vulnerable residents and our seniors, something that isn't something that gets on the front of the headlines, but matters so much to that senior who gets that little supplement to make sure that they have a healthy meal on their table. We have another, Senator Benson's bill provided financial support for caregivers who provide the unsung and unseen daily assistance to the elderly and the ill. Senator Benson is someone who, as our majority whip, has been a champion for people who are oftentimes vulnerable and not heard. And she has just been an absolute rock star in finding ways to honor their work with others. Senator Bailey had a bill to expand health screenings for newborns. There's plenty of examples of this type of targeted, specific legislating that really changes the trajectory for not all 6.2 million Marylanders, but those who really need the support of government intervention to make sure that they have their futures maximized. I do want to mention the local leadership. I think at some point today we'll have Councilman Eric Costello and Delegate Boyce, who are Councilman Costello, who I have the honor of serving with in the city, passed House Bill 2, which enables local jurisdictions to address vacant and blighted properties by establishing special tax rates. What we know is that in the midst of a housing crisis, we have a number of vacant homes. And it's one of these perplexing challenges that I'm so thrilled to work with all of the leaders across the state to figure out how do we increase supply, how do we take vacant homes and put them back on the rolls so that we have affordable and great homes available for all. I see our majority leader here who has been doing some phenomenal work, from program approvals to from investing in childcare and making sure that we have the childcare, early childhood education investments. We have a number of bills that will be passing this year that are or that will be signed today that are going to invest in our our youngest individuals. Finally, I do want to give a special shout out to Senator Jackson, who has more local jurisdictions represented than any other elected official, and sponsors legislation that was vital for economic development by creating tourism zones at the local level. This is something, again, not a headline catching thing, but in the next 10 years, when we see increased tourism in our local jurisdictions, it increases revenue, it increases productivity. These are the types of nitty-gritty policymaking that I'm so honored and pleased to have a part of helping to pass along and invest in Marylanders. So with that, I'm going to cut it a bit short. The governor promised lunch today after a 3-hour bill signing, so I don't want to take time into that. So without further ado, I want to thank my friend and colleague and partner in this work, and welcome up Speaker Adrian Jones.
It's still morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's great to be here with Governor Moore and President Ferguson and all of you who are here, including my nephew, Justin, for our second bill signing this year. Today, I'm particularly excited about my 2024 decency agenda that is going to be signed into law. If you've been paying attention this session, you probably heard me talk a lot about decency. Over the past few years, I've seen anger and hate resurface as part of our political discourse. We've seen political disagreements pull apart our communities, families, and friends. We've seen a rise of hate-based incidents in our classroom as curriculum debates and cultural wars have begun to overwhelm school systems across the country. And we've seen an increase in threats to our democracy with every passing day. These challenges have impacted each and every one of us. This session, I wanted to put some safeguards and best practices in place to prevent intolerance and hate from taking further root in our state's institutions and schools. That meant working with Delegate Dana Jones to ensure that we are exposing students to diverse viewpoints in a thoughtful and respectful way through the Freedom to Read Act. We cannot lock away challenging ideas from our students. Some of these ideas are going to help them see their worth and their value. It meant working with Chair Vanessa Atterbury to create safer learning environments by requiring anti-bias training for our public school employees. It meant working with Chair Luke Clippinger to protect LGBTQ Marylanders in the workplace, because we know that people need to feel safe at work and be protected regardless of who they love or who they are married to. It meant working with our school systems to equip our superintendents and other school officials with stronger leadership training. They need every tool available as they execute the education for thousands of our children, implement the blueprint, and keep our students and teachers safe. And it meant working with Delegate Sandy Rosenberg to stop the spread of misinformation and voter suppression in our elections, because we know that the continued use of disinformation only serves to drive polarization in our communities. I want to thank each of these members, along with Senate President Ferguson, for their commitment to the belief that we need to stop allowing our worst instincts to drive the conversation. Together, these bills will help all of us. Next year, I will have another package of bills aimed at continuing to promote decency in our public discourse and help protect the most vulnerable among us. This has been a big part of my life's work, and I look forward to working with Senate President and the Governor over the interim on legislation that support these goals for the next session and the rest of the terms. And with that, my lead-off trademark, let's get these bills signed.
HB 538, Housing Expansion and Affordability Act of 2024.
Hey guys, we can fit a few more people down this way.
There's no space to fit through. We're just going to do the picture in a second. How's it go? 538. Looking great, right up here. Perfect. 538. Perfect. Good. Thank you, sir. Next group. Thank you all very much. Do a second picture for 538, please. A second picture. It's 538.
I'm with the Baltimore Sun. I took pictures of all four of them, and I get their names. This one is. Can I, is it okay? Yeah, I guess I have.
538, second photo. Lines, please, squeeze all the way over. Come all the way over here.
You guys keep on.
Community Development Financing Act of 2024.
They were there before, right?
What's that?
They were back there before.
They were.
Can I get your names on the Baltimore?
Yeah.
They're not-
599, Housing and Community Development Financing Act.
Thanks a lot. Did you talk with your mom? You got cards?
I did. I'll get it back to you later. Ask that you shall receive.
Great, thank you. Baltimore Sun. I took pictures of you guys. So you need it for the package.
$5.99, we need 2 rows, please. Squeeze in 2 rows.
Squeeze in a little more, please. 2 rows. 2 rows. Hey, mindful of that.
House bill, $5.99. You are looking fine. This is it for the second shot. Let's go. 693, please look at me right here. Perfect, thank you very much. Next group, please. HB 1117, Tenant Safety Act of 2024. Folks, if you're able to squeeze over a little bit so we can finish our plan, that would be fantastic.
See someone down, too high.
Squeeze over a little bit. We need 2 rows, please. 2 rows. Joe, 2 pictures on this one. Bill, 1117, right here. Right here, look at the camera, please. You're gonna get 2 photos. 2 photos. Right here. Got everybody talking all around? That's great. Next group, please. Thank you all very much.
All right, anyone that was in the first photo, come towards me, please. All right, we all ran it. First person.
Photo 2, HB 1117.
All right, if you weren't in the first photo, just come stop right to me.
Squeeze over from the second photo. We're trying to fit a large group in here. Is that it? Now, Bill, 1117, round 2, right here. Looking great. That selfie's on the side. All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks so much, guys.
HB 333, election law, election disinformation and improper influence related to voting.
Thank you, folks. You, President Ferguson, take care of the House members. Thank you all very much for coming. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, hey guys, keep this always clear.
Now, Phil, 333, look at me. Awesome. You guys look back.
HB 1386, education, school employee, anti-bias training requirements.
here for freedom free. Okay, we're gonna do a second photo, okay?